I love leading our team and seeing growth happen within our team members. And so it's like I could write out, we've got a team of 12. I could write out where were they stretched this year, and how are they better at their job? Hopefully that trickles into life than they were in January. Those are my favorite wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's seeing people step into more authority. I mean, this is a little comical after, my confession earlier, but it's having recruiting consultants who are, I see them interacting with clients and candidates. I'm like, oh, you are embodying your full authority here.
Yeah.
And I love seeing those wins.
Welcome to Reframe Fix, hosted by Jake Smith, brought to you by Workbench. Real conversations about leadership, the stories behind the scenes, and what it takes to go from stuck to scaling.
Alli Horst, welcome to the Reframe Fix.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We start the show with the same question.
Okay.
What's a leader? What's a leader to you? How do you define a leader?
A leader to me is someone that people naturally follow and believe in.
Say more about the believe in.
Believe in. I think there's a vision casting and a ushering into something that isn't yet there.
Yeah.
That is a part of leadership. And so there are a lot of people maybe who have big ideas or promises, but to be a leader, you have to be someone who there's inherent trust. And when you're casting that vision, people are grabbing hold of it and believing that could be true.
Yeah. Well, and you know what immediately comes to mind when you say believe or belief?
No.
No.
Brene Brown.
That would be like an excellent guess. Yeah. Ted Lasso.
Oh, yes, of course.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can picture the scene now.
Right.
Yes.
You're CEO of a company. What is the people that are part of your company, what do they believe in about you?
I hope that they're believing that I want the best for them, that together we're growing and going somewhere, and that I'm holding things for them, like I'm growing us in a new direction. I'm taking us somewhere.
Yeah,
that would be my hope.
What's important about those three things? Or at least important to you.
I think that this is for their good. That they are, there are a lot of things that our company exists to be for the good of a lot of different stakeholders.
Yeah,
it feels important to me that my team knows that we are for their good, their development, their future, their well-being, their success.
Yeah.
And all of those things are kind of held in that.
Yeah. I have the benefit of knowing you, knowing the work that you do, but for the benefit of our listeners, 30 to 60 seconds on, hey, your business, what is it that you do? Because I think it's a really important part of the conversation as you talk about belief.
So I lead Matchstick, which is a boutique recruiting firm that partners with organizations who really want a true partnership in the recruiting hiring process. So we exist to help them get better at hiring, to find and pursue and then vet great candidates who they would otherwise not find on their own.
Yeah. You placed emphasis on a true partner.
Yeah. You noticed.
But so what's that nuance?
Yeah.
Like what's the difference between a partner and a true partner?
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think there are a lot of recruiting firms who are really about getting resumes in front of clients, getting someone in that seat pretty quickly, maybe even moving candidates around from placement to placement.
Yeah.
And we really believe in getting to know our clients, sounding like an extension of their team while we're engaged with them. So representing them, your hiring partner is really a representation of your company and your identity, your brand to candidates.
Yeah.
And so we try to really embody that, get to know them from all angles, and then embody that and understand who they're looking for. You're not just looking for a VP of finance, you're looking for a VP of finance for this specific company.
Yeah. I'd never thought of that before, but as soon as you said that, hey, these aren't your words, but this is what I heard, that we're a proxy for our client.
Yeah.
And then immediately that just made perfect sense because, so hey, if you're recruiting me and I'm having this experience and this interaction with you.
Totally.
And so I'm definitely, there's a part of it that's like, I want to be a part of this because I really like working with Alli or whomever it is on your team. Obviously, it's not you.
Sometimes it's me.
But just super interesting, like, how do you take on the persona of your client?
Right.
So that, hey, as you do a seamless transition, if when the hire is made, it's not like, oh, wait.
Right. You're like, wait, there's this like whiplash of, this is such a different experience all of a sudden.
Right.
To be in this company after this experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I hear in that is, man, you've got to have a team that's got high EQ.
High EQ.
EQ.
Yes, that is the name of the game.
Say more.
There's a lot of, even in our own hiring process, as we're bringing people onto the Matchstick team, we are looking for that person that does an appropriate amount of mirroring. Like they can kind of see how everything, as silly as it is, how I'm writing an email they should have a similar tone to their emails. Or in an interview, can they understand why I'm asking what seems to be a bizarre question? Can they understand how that connects back to something? So we're looking for all these tiny little data points because we need people on the team that then can step into a brand new client relationship in a super niche industry and be able to pick up enough of those to create that seamless process.
Yeah. That's super interesting. What's your biggest growth edge as a leader right now?
I'd love for you to also answer this for me.
Okay.
Let's go full vulnerability here. Turn this into a coaching session. I think this fall I've had a number of moments where I think leaning into more authority and recognizing when there's a hard decision to make that this is part of my job is to make that hard decision.
Yeah.
And to do that with confidence. That's been a growth edge I'm really working on.
What you're familiar with our both framework, and in the both framework, we talk about leadership is holding or embracing two dynamics, authority and vulnerability. We always talk about having a default.
Yes.
So based on what you've shared, my assumption, but to validate, your default is vulnerability.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. I see you.
Yeah.
My default's vulnerability also.
Welcome.
Friendly zone.
Yeah, exactly.
What for you, and so as part of that also, we talk about, so your non-dominant dynamic. So for both of us, that's authority. And that your non-dominant dynamic always feels uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so oftentimes you'll avoid embracing that dynamic because it's uncomfortable. You feel the discomfort.
Yes.
What's uncomfortable to you about authority embracing authority?
One of the things that has helped me in leadership is the ability to see things from a variety of perspectives. And there's something sometimes about authority that I'm almost too aware of what's happening in the room to want to step out and make a decision or lead with authority, because I really want to build consensus and have everyone be on the same page. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes there's a place for that. And sometimes it is me shirking authority and my my seat that I'm in. Because I'm really just trying to get, it's kind of a way to feed my vulnerability of like, oh, if I just get everyone on board, then this is our decision together. And that works. Sometimes it's great. And then sometimes it really slows me down, holds me back, keeps me from doing a more ambitious decision.
Yeah. All there's great data that's come out of Harvard around this, where the best leaders are fast decision makers. Yes.
I have said this to my team, and they now will sometimes repeat it back to me of like, not like quicker decisions, not better decisions, or like it is that. Like sometimes you just have to make a decision, and then you get to figure out if it was the right decision.
Right.
But living in this like, I don't know, we actually aren't learning much in that spot.
Yeah. I would even challenge you on using language around right decision or wrong decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Why are you?
Because I'm like, of course. Because I think that's been some of my work as a leader is like as taking off the right and wrong and just being like, this, I made a decision. And now we get to figure out what happens next. Versus it either is the right decision and I succeed, or it's the wrong decision and I fail.
Right.
That's kind of how I came into leadership thinking.
And you never know before.
Yes. Right.
You actually have to make the decision to find out.
Yes.
And the language that I offer to clients when talking about this is don't use right or wrong, but well, it comes from a place where we encourage the clients we work with to have values. Hey, to have goals. And so then the framework becomes, okay, is this decision I'm making, does it seem aligned with our values? Does this seem like it's going to bring us into greater alignment with the goals we're trying to achieve this year or not? But again, you're not going to know.
Right.
And it's only until you make the decision, and then there's a period of time. It can be a day, a week, a month, 3 months. And then the question is just as simple as, hey, did that bring us into greater alignment with our values, with the goals we're trying to achieve, or did it move us further away from it? And if it moves you away from it, it's just, oh, great. Like, okay, we now need to make a different decision to pivot us in the direction that ideally we would like to go.
Yeah. That's a really helpful way to look at it. Yeah.
So how are you? So if that's your growth edge right now is, hey, how do I embrace authority as CEO of Matchstick in a better way, a different way than I've done in the past? What are you learning as you do it? What are you doing to grow in that?
I don't know if I've thought of this before, but one of the first things I'm doing is noticing the decisions that I'm procrastinating on.
Oh.
Like I just this morning had an email that was in my inbox that I had snoozed a few days ago. And I thought, I don't really know if this person actually needs an answer on this. Like, I think they kind of understand this is a gray question and I can probably snooze it again or archive this. And I was like, no, you know what? This person needs a little more clarity than they have at the moment. And I need to dig in and figure out that clarity, what my decision is on this is a contract issue. I need to give them clarity. And I need to do that. So I think the first part of the growth edge, as basic as it is just that awareness of like, oh, hey, this is that moment where I'm kind of trying to shy away from authority here. And to just kind of notice that feeling of like, oh, it's not always snoozing an email or archiving it, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's that. So there's an awareness there. And then I think that awareness leads to like, okay, it's like, okay, I need to kind of step into this new space. And so usually that means I have to do a little bit more planning or thoughtful work around, okay, what decision am I making or how am I communicating this? But I think naming it has been my biggest thing to be like, oh, I'm feeling this dynamic again, this tension.
Well, to mirror back to you, self-awareness is the first step of any personal growth.
And
Snooze can also be an effective tactic. I think, like, I'll use myself as an example, is my tendency can be to micromanage, over control. And so I don't remember when this was in my career at this point, but I remember being on vacation and being really intentional, which was hard to not do any work and to not get into my email. And then when I came back and you're doing the dig out, and I saw that like things that someone came to me or I got copied on, and I felt like, oh, I need to jump in here.
Yeah.
And then they resolved on their own. So I actually, so the snooze can also be helpful. It's like, no, I don't need to be part of this.
Right.
So also just discerning.
Yeah. When is my authority needed here? When can I back out and see what happens?
Right.
Yeah.
And how would you describe what's different about how you embrace authority today than if you even look back as recent as 6 or 12 months ago?
I think I'm a little bit more public with it. Maybe before, I'm thinking about a decision I made this fall that felt like one of those moments where it's like, okay, I need to lean into my authority here. In the past, I would have made that same decision and maybe done it in a way without even realizing this, done it in a way where I didn't really tell the people involved in this decision that I was doing, just kind of be like, all right, like I'll take this from here. Thanks, guys. Yeah. And this was me more clearly stating, like, we had been working through kind of a tricky situation. There was a more risky decision we could make, or we could kind of stay the course and do the normal thing. I had a few people speak into this moment because I tend to be more optimistic, and I needed some people who had higher levels of awareness of like, hey, if something goes wrong, what could go wrong here? So I pulled more voices in. And
that sounds like consulting a lawyer.
Exactly.
If something could go wrong, who do I need to talk to?
Where am I going to get in trouble? So I was like, help me think about this from all the angles. And they were definitely leaning towards like, I don't know if I think maybe we just stay the course, kind of do what we have been doing. Yeah. And I ultimately got to the end of that process. It was like, nope, we need to make this decision. This is the harder decision, but we need to go this way. Yeah. Okay. So 12 months ago, I would have made that decision and I could have made that decision slightly more privately. They did not need to be brought into the loop. It was kind of like in the past, I would have either built consensus and gotten everyone on board, or I would have kind of privately moved forward. And this time I was like, hey, we're going to do a regroup. I'm going to tell you what I heard from you, and I'm going to tell you why I'm making this decision with those things in mind. Yeah. And here we go. But I started that conversation. I was like, I want you to know where I landed. Yeah. Like, let's know from the beginning of this conversation, this is where we're not still discussing it. This is where I landed and what we're doing. Yeah. And then we work backwards from there to address some of the concerns. Yeah. But I don't think I got consensus on it. I just was like, here we go.
Well, now that sounds like who you referenced earlier.
Oh, her.
Her, who is
Brene Brown.
And
what? Vulnerability?
Clear as kind.
Oh, clear as kind. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she's really,
totally.
That's her statement.
Yes.
And
yes.
it resonates and is popular because there's truth in it.
Yeah.
Like, clarity is kind. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or to reference the example that you shared earlier of or from this week where, hey, this client, it's a contract issue, but they're looking for clarity.
Yes.
So how do I actually, with authority, step in and offer that clarity? Mm-hmm. And then it's actually...
It's comforting.
And it's helpful.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful. We talk a lot as a recruiting partner of being a steady hand to someone through a process. And you're like, we're all kind of looking for that. And so as a leader, it doesn't always feel like the easiest path, but it's a kind path.
Different than a kind bar.
Very different.
What you mentioned turning to others and looking for input when hey, maybe they have more wisdom or experience than you do. Who are those people?
Yeah. I I have a good crew of people.
You do?
I do. I feel really grateful for that. So I have a group of 10 women that I meet with monthly who are all in leadership positions in a variety of industries. And it's just one of those groups you can kind of come with anything and talk freely with.
Yeah.
I meet almost every month with my dad, who was an executive and has a lot of insight. I have a good crew. I love the founder of Matchstick is one of those people that I can go to really quickly. Yeah.
Which demonstrates your strength and vulnerability. Sometimes vulnerability or the way that I would describe it is, hey, it's just the uncertainty and the not knowing. And then also embracing humility and turning to others who might know more than I do and then leveraging them. What would love for you to share a story or an experience where your organization or your team suffered or didn't benefit because you failed to embrace authority. And while I think so often authority can come with a negative connotation. And yet, like, authority is an essential part, or I would say authority is an essential part of leadership. The way we define it is decision-making power on behalf of an organization. So it's a necessary, it's an essential element, but it does, in general, I think it carries a negative connotation.
Okay. When I joined Matchstick, it was in its early days. I joined as a recruiter, and the training was fairly minimal, and it was kind of like, hey, run your process. Everyone at the company, is the early stage company that was kind of figuring out its process, its who it was, its identity. And so any recruiter that joined at that time was given a lot of autonomy with what their process and their recruiting looked like. So fast forward, the company started in 2017, 2022, I'm stepping into more of a leadership role. And people are joining the company at that point who are now getting a very different experience than I did when I joined in this, we were still figuring out who our clients were, what our industries were. So the type of people that you're hiring at that point are very different than the people who are joining a little startup company.
Sure.
And as a leader, I kept thinking, I don't want to tell them how to do their process. I don't want to lean into, we have good tools, we can give training, but I still want to give people tons of autonomy.
Right.
Let them figure this out on their own.
You be you.
Exactly. Bring your own flavor to this. Because that's part of what hooked me when I joined. And I liked being part of this culture that was creating something. And in 2022, all of a sudden I have a team of people that are like, hey, tell us like, what is the standard operating procedure for this? And how,
what?
Right, exactly. And we've got clients who are having a little whiplash of like, wait, I worked with this recruiter and she did this. I worked with this recruiter and he did this. That we didn't have a clear process. It really changed depending on who you were working with. But it was stemming from this, like, I don't want to tell people how to do their job. I was like, was kind of my job. That was what I was there to do. And it just created a team of people that felt like they were guessing a lot.
Yeah. It's resonating a little bit right now. We're in scale mode at Workbench. And I want you to.
Right. Except then they do something, you're like, but not that.
No,
don't do that. That's not what I meant.
Can't you do it the right way?
Right, exactly. Do it your way, but the right way.
It's really hard to, I don't know, I'd love for you to tell me what you think about this. Because everybody's different.
Yep.
Like you don't want Matchstick to be a bunch of mini Allis.
Totally.
Right. So everybody has unique strengths. Everybody's different. So how do you allow somebody to leverage their their uniqueness, their inherent strengths, the things that they bring that are different from other people. And at the same time, hey, within this framework and structure.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do you do
that? We're figuring it out. This is so funny because as you were talking about that, I was like, oh, one of the first things we did was we mapped out all of there are five tensions that every recruiter was feeling and had people chart themselves of like this is similar to what you do, but map themselves of which way they naturally lean.
Yeah, your default.
Yeah, your default. And so it's everything from patience to proactive. Like recruiting is this wild mix of those two things. You have to be incredibly patient because clients, hiring managers have far more going on in their day than we realize. And we're thinking about them a lot more than they're thinking about us. So we need to be really patient. But a recruiter has to be proactive because candidates are moving. It's dynamic. We've got hiring managers who want this position filled yesterday. And so we just started naming some of the tensions that our team was feeling, helping them gain self-awareness of which side they were naturally leaning, and then built training around like, how do we sit more in the middle on these things? So it's things like candidate or client. Which way do you tend to lean? Who is it easier for you to cheer for or to, I'm trying to think of other ones. Curious and informed. You have to be asking right questions, but we need to come in with, like we are the expert on this role and we know X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
What do you think has been your biggest leadership win this year? I mean, we're recording at the end of December.
Okay.
It's not time for reflection.
I love leading our team and seeing growth happen within our team members. And so it's like I could write out, we've got a team of 12. I could write out where were they stretched this year and how are they better at their job? Hopefully that trickles into life than they were in January. Those are my favorite wins. Yeah. Yeah. So it's seeing people step into more authority. I mean, this is a little comical after, my confession earlier, but it's having recruiting consultants who are, I see them interacting with clients and candidates. I'm like, oh, you are embodying your full authority here.
Yeah.
And I love seeing those wins.
The Reframe Fix is a podcast from Workbench. When growth creates pressure, Workbench helps CEOs and leadership teams cut through complexity, align their people, and scale with confidence, bringing clarity through executive coaching and strategic planning. Learn more at workbench.co.
It was interesting when you said, I love leading my team. Like your head turned down and you closed your eyes and you said it with emphasis. You said, like, I love leading my team.
I do. It's
What do you love about it?
I love growth. Growth is one of my values. And so I think this is one of the places I get to see it most clearly.
Yeah.
And I love the good that I think there's so much formative work that happens in our day jobs, in our formal work.
Yeah.
And I think we can kind of divorce that and say, oh, I'm growing as a person in my counseling sessions and at home and all these places, but it all kind of comes out to play at work.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's like this powerful place where the connections and the growth and the learning and the formation that's happening there is happening rapidly because there are all these like irritants and vulnerabilities that are happening in the workplace.
Yeah. And
so I love that. I love that piece. I love getting to be any part of that for others.
Yeah.
And getting a front row seat I'm not always involved, but getting a front row seat to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other side of the coin.
Okay.
If you're willing.
Yes.
Oh, you already said yes.
Well, no,
you need another question.
I'm willing to hear the question.
Fair enough. What do you see as one or of a leadership, for lack of a better word, a leadership failure over the past year?
Over the past year.
Yeah. Remember, your default is vulnerability.
I know. I'm like clamming up a little bit. You're going to question it. I think we had a gosh, sorry, Jay. I'm like pinging between a few things here.
Let's see where the ping pong ball lands.
Yeah, I know. This is the most recent. It's not my biggest failure. It just is.
Yeah, just one.
It's the most recent that feels
still
the easiest to share on a podcast. I had insane travel for like 4 weeks this fall.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, had our team retreat, which this is people are flying in from out of town. Everyone's together. Our team loves being together.
Yeah.
And I planned it at the end of, a season when I should not have planned it. And then in that failed to delegate at all because it felt overwhelming to figure out what to delegate. So I delegated less than I normally would. And so it was kind of a recipe for disaster. And then at the end of the retreat was fine. I knew it was fine. It was like fine as in like below average.
That's you saying that?
Yes, that's me saying that. Well, then I asked for feedback.
Okay.
And then my team gave me feedback, great feedback that I kind of already knew, but then I got kind of annoyed by the feedback I was getting. Because I was like, I know it wasn't that great of a retreat. So it just was this like, I look at that, I'm like, that was a series of unfortunate events and some unforced errors of scheduling, of not delegating because it felt harder to delegate, of not really checking in and saying like, do I want feedback or can I take feedback right now? Or do I need to take a beat and then maybe get some feedback, or maybe just make a planning committee for our next retreat and, hand off some items. I didn't give any time for myself to do reflection. I just went straight into like, this is what you do. You do a retreat and then you go straight into feedback and then you move on.
Yeah.
Instead of taking a step back from that.
Well, you raise and you named an interesting dynamic, which is that feedback can be, you know the right answer. Yeah. It's like, oh no, I want feedback. Right. Like, give me feedback. But feedback can be hard to receive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if it's good feedback, it typically is. Good feedback is gonna not just highlight what you're doing well, but it's also gonna offer you maybe what your blind spots are.
Right.
Or what you've missed. Right. Or what you're not doing well.
Yeah.
And so it can be hard. And so the self-awareness that you had is like, oh, I asked for feedback. Hey, probably best practice. Let's call it best practice. Yes. But like, hey, was I in the frame of mind where I could fully receive that feedback?
Right.
Like, hey, I'm going to let this, we got it. We're not doing another retreat for, maybe another year.
Right.
I don't have to look at this feedback right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Like if I love that my team freely gave feedback. Like that's part of our culture. But if I had taken any moment to assess myself, I would be like, oh, I need to take a beat here. Or again, back to some delegation, I could ask someone else. I could ask our director of recruiting to gather some feedback and hold on to it for a week or two.
And on a good day, exactly. I'll call you.
Exactly. But I think I put myself in that worst spot of like, I asked for feedback from a team that understands we give feedback.
Yeah.
And I did not want feedback in that moment. and I think it was fair. I was fairly exhausted.
Yeah.
Felt spread very thin across kind of finishing the stuff that I had started with my travel. And, that's fair. We, as leaders, like there are moments where you just are like, I can't do it right now.
Well, it sounds like you had self-awareness.
Well, I didn't because I asked for feedback.
What do you think it says about you as CEO that your team is willing to offer you that honest feedback?
I mean, I think I'm going back to growth of like, this is one of our core identifiers. This is who we are as we grow.
Yeah.
And we all hold ourselves lightly enough to know that we all have room to grow.
Yeah.
And so I hope that it means that they know that I genuinely believe that, and that this is a two-way street of I'm providing feedback, they're providing feedback.
Yeah. Gonna make a couple observations.
Please.
What that sounds like, if your team is willing to provide you honest feedback that, you can actually action in order to either one, grow yourself, or two, grow the company in a way that's better and serving better. But one is that you have a high level of trust, or that you've established a high level of trust within the organization. Two is that a lot of times feedback doesn't get offered because it's just going to go on a shelf somewhere and it's going to gather dust. And so the second thing would be is that, hey, they know that the feedback is actually going to be listened to, and that they're going to see action that comes from it.
Yeah. That's good. That's what I would hope for. So yay.
You'll take it.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, as I've had the opportunity to watch you and Matchstick grow, how do you grow leaders internally?
I started off my career in education. And so I cannot help but have some sort of book study be a part of our culture at all times. We do the slowest reading group, but like our leadership team almost always has a book that we're going through that we might just read little chunks at a time, but you're just, taking in something new, and you're taking in something new together.
Yeah.
So it becomes a reference point for us.
Yeah.
So it's identifying, again, this is education term, but a zone of proximal development is kind of like how someone can grow in and of their own strengths and their own awareness.
Yeah.
And as a leader, or an educator, you want to go +1. You want to take that zone and expand it slightly.
Yeah.
So I love thinking of that, of kind of like, what would this person grow naturally on their own accord, grow in a year? How would they grow in a year?
Yeah.
And then how do we take that? How do we add additional growth onto that? And so that's feedback. That's, learning opportunities, pulling in other points of view. It's celebrating things that a lot of bringing awareness to things that people are naturally doing that they probably don't know. Oh, this is unique and you're good at this.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes my observation is that sometimes superpowers come so easy.
Yes.
Is that you actually don't realize that it's a superpower.
Exactly.
Because isn't this
right.
so
Doesn't everyone
easy for
do
everyone?
this? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Our team this year has really started watching each other and jumping in to see each other, how they run their process or how they do an interview, bringing just more awareness. And I think it's that because they started noticing all these superpowers on the team, and we're like, starting to name it more of like, hey, I need to get in there when you're doing this part of the process.
Yeah.
I want to be in there watching your process.
Yeah. Yeah. We get at Workbench, we get to work with a lot of companies, which I always think is an honor and a privilege. Yeah. And, but far and away, what I've observed is that your company has the best culture that I've ever seen.
Wow, Jake.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm curious, what book are you reading right now as a leadership team?
Well, I was worried you were going to ask that because we just finished one. We haven't started one.
Okay.
We just finished How to Know a Person by David Brooks.
Yeah. And
then I think next year we might do Multipliers.
Okay.
I can't remember the author yet. But we're in between reading season.
Okay. Is that Malcolm Gladwell? Multipliers?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Sorry.
Yeah. What was your biggest takeaway from How to Know Someone?
Oh my word. It was I think it just made you realize how layered each person is, how much goes into someone's perspective and their formation and their viewpoint. And a little bit of this it kind of put us all in a little existential crisis of like everyone's viewpoint is true to what they are seeing and experiencing. And it's very different than what you or I are experiencing and seeing because we've got all this past experience and temperament and all of these other things that make us determine the world or make sense of the world in a different way.
Yeah.
But I think it gave room, I'm going back to feedback, it gave room to like, we can give feedback not because this person is wrong. They just might see it differently. They might be experiencing this moment differently than how I'm experiencing it.
Yeah.
And so that makes it easier to give feedback because I'm not accusing you of something. Yeah. I'm just helping you see it in a different way.
Yeah. I have a friend who runs a successful investment fund, and he has a phrase that readers are leaders. And reading is part of your practice. So why do you think is that true? Why do you think it's true?
I love it. I'm going to cross stitch it this Christmas break on a pillow. I want it to be true. Books do two things. I don't know who said this, but it's the idea of like a book can either be a mirror, it helps you see yourself better, or a window into a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
And so I think both of those things are really helpful. I read far more fiction than I do nonfiction.
Yeah. And
sometimes I feel a little, sheepish about that because most of the time when we're talking about, readers are leaders, we're probably thinking nonfiction. But it helps me understand other perspectives and other viewpoints. And I think it expands my imagination of who people are, of what could happen. And then I get these great nonfiction heavy hitters kind of interspersed in there, and the interplay is amazing. So I think I think it helps my imagination in a like strategic, visionary kind of way.
Yeah.
And empathy.
Those two things that you mentioned in terms of what books do you think that holds true for fiction and nonfiction? So even in a fiction novel, can it offer you a mirror back to yourself to see something maybe that you didn't know about yourself or you hadn't recognized before, or it gives you a new perspective on a situation?
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
So it doesn't matter.
No, I don't think so. And I think
Where have you got? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think actually fiction can do that incredibly well because we have our guard down. We're like, we're feeling a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we all are making our decisions way more based on feeling than logic at times. I mean, than we want to admit. And so I think in fiction, it's actually shaping us more than we realize. We want nonfiction to shape us, but often it doesn't because it hasn't moved us.
Yeah. This is really interesting because in some client work that we're doing at Workbench right now, we're working with a number of teams around team health, team function, team dysfunction. And one of my favorite resources to use as a framework when talking about those things is Patrick Lencioni's The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
Yes.
So often, as part of that work, I'll have the leadership team read that. And some of the feedback, so coming back to feedback, some of the feedback I've gotten has actually surprised me. So one of the reasons I love that book is that it kind of, to me, it reads like a novel.
Yes, yeah.
Like it's a scenario of a leadership team, and it's working through different personalities and conflicts. But the feedback that I've gotten is that like it felt awkward because it felt too real.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And I have no idea whether, I'm sure that it's based in some sort of like an amalgamation of different people.
Right.
But it was so interesting to me. This like, this actually felt a little too close to home, and it made it awkward. Instead of that like fictional.
Right. I didn't get this. There wasn't enough distance there.
Right.
Yeah. That's so interesting. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
But Patrick, I mean, think of he's kind of done this like, hey, I'm gonna use stories.
Right.
But I'm gonna do it in a nonfiction way so that people
fiction way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that business leaders like feel okay about using this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you just called him Patrick. Like,
do you know why I called him Patrick? Because I hate saying his last name because everyone says it so differently.
Oh, right.
And so I just avoided it by becoming best friends with him.
Easy solve.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a little known fact that Patrick for sure does not know, but we went to the same high school.
You and Patrick.
We did.
Oh, so if anyone should be on first name basis, it's you.
Well, but we didn't overlap at all.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of those random, like,
Okay.
who cares facts.
I care right now.
Thanks. If I went to any of your team members and said, what do you admire? What do you like about Alli most? What would they say?
I've probably tried to avoid this or felt sheepish about this, but I've heard this enough and tried to embrace it. But that I'm a fun leader, that we have a good time.
Yeah.
This is it feels like really low on the like goal list.
Yeah.
But we're going to do really hard things together, and we're going to navigate really tricky dynamics.
Yeah.
And we're going to enjoy doing it together.
Yeah. What's something fun that you've done with your team recently?
Did you see our stupid link into their soul thing that I did? I had everyone do a
Wait, why did you call it stupid?
Well, because it just is like it feels so superficial. But because I feel vulnerable about being a fun leader. Were you gonna ask something?
Well, I was gonna make an observation. I think that maybe that's like a superpower. Because if I'm honest, it's not hard for me to have fun. I wouldn't describe myself as a fun leader. When I'm invited into fun, it's really easy for me to show up and to have fun.
Yep.
It is very hard for me to initiate fun. So on a Saturday, like where probably the majority of people would say like, oh, like what fun are we going to do today? Like my default is like, oh, let me make a really long to-do list of everything I can get done today. And that'll show up in my own leadership style as well is like fun doesn't come naturally and easily. So I just offer that back to you.
That's helpful. Yeah, that's helpful to hear.
Yeah. So what was fun about?
Okay. So we had user guides. We have a mostly remote team. So part of the work is figuring out how do we make people feel connected, know that they're a part of something, lean into each other.
Right.
And so I did one of those exercises where everyone fills out a user guide. You know, this is come to me if you need help with this. I procrastinate on these things. I get energy from these tasks. This is what life looks like outside of work, like a 2-page document. Yeah. Everyone fills them out. The idea is we're going to put this in a folder in Google Drive. People will reference it. Yeah. Except you and I both know no one will ever reference those. They'll never be seen again.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna trickle these into Slack. Every day we'll do one, but I need people to interact with it. And so I came up with this idea that everyone sent me a link to something. It was the website that they kill time on. It's a recent favorite purchase they made online. It's a meme that made them laugh really hard. Yeah. So everyone sends those in, and every day as we trickled out these user guides, I'd say, this is whose link to their soul is this? Yeah. Link into their soul. And then everyone would guess, and it would be like this whole hotly debated thing. And we're looking at absurd, who is going to think this meme about a kid playing basketball is funny? And then after there was enough guesses made, then I would drop the user guide. And people would then interact with it because it's, now been this big reveal. Yeah. And then it would be put in the folder. Yeah. May or may not ever be looked at again. But it was just that like, we're doing something fun. This is team building. This is getting to know each other from a different angle. Right. And then on top of that, we're putting this user guide that feels a little vulnerable, but we've started off with a link that you provided. Yeah.
Well, and then you're creating space for someone to be seen and known.
Yes.
Which then likely is going to lead to them feel like this is a place where I belong.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So
exactly.
So through this
stupid,
what you called stupid, you're actually like enhancing some really fundamental key, which to my earlier observation is like, well, no wonder you have this culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah. It was we had a good time. And I truly think like it enhances their work they're doing together. They now understand each other in a different way, both through the user guides and this ridiculous guessing game.
Yeah. What are the leadership characteristics that you admire most? Or let me retract the question.
Okay.
Your Honor. What, as you look at yourself, you've demonstrated in our conversation today a level of self-awareness. As you look at yourself, what do you see as your three primary superpowers?
Oh.
From a leadership perspective?
I kind of want to go back to the retracted question.
Okay, well, great.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
I got really excited, but
great.
Is that terrible?
No. Just remind me of what the retracted question was.
The retracted question was,
because I forget it.
What do you admire in other leaders?
Yeah.
And that I was like, I know immediately what this is. It is a resiliency and a open-handedness with failure it's really a different viewpoint of failure than what I have. I'm going back early in this conversation when we talked about right decisions, wrong decisions.
Right.
And I naturally think right and wrong, good, bad, successful, failure.
Yeah.
And there are a couple key leaders, Matt Thomas at Marrow, and then I would put my husband, Alli Horst, in there, who just fundamentally see quote unquote failure very differently than I do. And I think it's an incredible gift as a leader.
Yeah.
And just a superpower. And that's been one of those where I have gone to both of them and been like, hey, this just happened.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Here's the story I'm telling myself.
Exactly. I just failed miserably. How would you interpret that experience?
Yeah.
What would you be saying to yourself right now?
Yeah.
And it feels fascinating. It feels like I'm talking to an alien. I'm just like, I don't understand how that's the story that you got to from this experience, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I just.
Yeah, the reframe.
Totally.
We're on the Reframe Fix.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
But so important.
Yeah.
Because you bring up something that is fundamental and part of all of us is we make up stories. Mm-hmm. Like we experience a situation, we make up a story about it that may be true or may not be true.
Yep. Yes.
And we never validate it.
Right.
We never validate the truth in it, or hey, what are the fictional pieces that I'm making up to make it feel better to me, or to try to make sense of it.
Yep.
So what a great thing to have those two people.
Yeah.
That allow the reframe.
Right.
And then allow you to look at something differently that maybe doesn't.
Yes.
I'm now making up a story about this that doesn't drag you down as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Because this feels like truth to me. The story I'm telling myself feels just like 100%. This is what happened.
Yeah,
and
this is true.
This is true.
Yeah.
How might this not be true?
Yeah. It's a bit, I would say, in my experience, that's probably the number one thing that gets in the way of leaders in particular, people generally, of moving into their fullest self, into their full potential.
Is that they believe that they just see this one story?
They have narratives that they have narratives that they've made up to help explain situations that aren't actually true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it holds them back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And we all have them.
We all have them.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have those people that you're like, Hey, that you can be vulnerable enough to be like, this is the story.
Yeah.
What's your story? How are you seeing this?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and now you just brought up is that to see that you have to get into your story,
Yeah.
which requires vulnerability.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that feels uncomfortable, exposing. Yeah.
And because you're showing it to someone and you're opening yourself to them being like, yeah, that's probably what happened. You're like, oh, shoot.
So really hoping for a different.
Right? But you try to see it from a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Alli Horst, thanks for being on the Reframe Fix today. Hey, if people want to find you, if they want to learn more about Matchstick, if they're interested in your services, where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah. Our website is matchstick.is.
Yep.
And we're all on LinkedIn and all over the place.
Great.
Yeah.
So feel free to connect with you on LinkedIn as well.
Absolutely.
Great.
Would love it.
Alli Horst, thank you.
Thanks, Jake.